Hey everybody, Dr. Choi here. If you've been watching some of our content, you've probably seen some videos about how implant dentures can go wrong sometimes. Well, recently I had a patient who came to me for a second opinion because she had snap-on dentures made about 5 years ago and they were a disastrous experience for her. Please listen to her story as her son details all about the experience. And stay tuned in the future because what we're going to do is we're going to be able to help her out with an all-on-4 dental implant procedure.
My mother had a failed attempt at implants for her dentures. They were replaced in 2015, and since that time she's had nothing but problems with them. The dentures won't stay engaged. They come out when she chews. With the dentures, she ended up getting uppers and lowers, and from the time that the uppers and lowers were placed, she hasn't been able to chew. The dentures come dislodged and come off. We went back and got tighter bands, and that didn't help. And then the alignment was not good on them also, so she had a lot of difficulty chewing to the point where she just stopped wearing them. Originally she was pleased, but whenever the post that was damaged, whenever we first did the first fitting, became to the point where it fell out, then the alignment of the dentures was off and she didn't like them. She felt very self-conscious about the way they looked, so she basically stopped wearing them and then stopped engaging. From the time we placed them in the beginning in 2015, she had numerous appointments for realignment, which they actually remade the dentures, did refitting. And each time we would go back and they would try to fit them, and the alignment was never right. The teeth wouldn't come together properly. She couldn't bite, but they said that was the best that they could do for her. The original mold wasn't correct, so whenever we went back in and they did the refitting and new mold and remade the dentures and came back and we still had the exact same problem, they said that they had done everything within their contract with us, that there was nothing else they could do. So they sort of left it that way. When I was able finally to make contact with, she started in Denison, Texas, and then she moved down to Houston. When I was able to finally make a contact with the dentist she was seeing in Houston, after multiple tries, he explained that he's done everything he can do. There was nothing else that they could do. When I asked him if it was possible to take the post and realign them, he told me no, that she didn't have the bone mass to do it, and that the post she had would probably be coming out because she had no bone mass. From the beginning, it was rather tough because I didn't make the original fitting with her whenever they did their original impressions for the lowers, but I did made all the visits afterwards. The technicians seemed basically, it was her fault that the molds wouldn't work because they said her mouth was too small. It was her fault that the grafts didn't take because she didn't do what she was supposed to. It was her fault. So they kept putting the blame on her, and it was very frustrating. On top of the fact that she had started into dementia, and I have to explain to her why she spent the money on the overdentures and can't use them, why the dentist won't take care of it. She's very adamant that this is something that should be taken care of by the other group, and I have to explain to her that they basically have fired her as a patient and they're no longer going to treat her. So it's hard to explain it. So it's very frustrating, especially whenever she gets emotional about the fact that she can't wear the teeth and she feels like she can't go out in public. So it's been very upsetting and frustrating, both those things, this whole process been. Without having the overdentures in place, her food intake has been drastically reduced. She can't take in anything that's hard to chew, so it limits her fiber intake. It limits her to basically what she's comfortable eating, which has been progressed to yogurt and puddings and things like that, and soups. But if she does try to eat solid food, it gets caught in the lower esophagus. Since she's not able to chew it, it gets caught in the lower esophagus. Never makes it down into the stomach because she has a weakening of the esophagus right at the sphincter. And 2 to 3 hours afterwards, she'll get violently ill, throwing up, and the food that comes up hasn't been digested. So basically, her nutrition is poor. The lack of fiber intake makes it where she has bowel issues. Just the overall, her mental condition, not being able to eat, having to always say, well, I can't do this and I can't eat that and I can't go with y'all to eat, has really been hard on her too. So both from a physical standpoint and from a mental standpoint, not having the ability to chew has really been hard on her. Also, she won't engage, so psychologically she won't go out of the house. She won't get engaged with seniors in the area. We've tried to get her to join a couple of seniors groups since she moved back up here, and she won't because she doesn't have the teeth in place, and she's very self-conscious about it.